Okay, so how do we deal with all of these toxins that can get in our bodies? Well, first of all, you want to minimize your exposures. So hopefully you get less stuff into your body. And then you want to maximize liver detox. So today we're going to focus on maximizing detox. And later on in the year, I'm going to do one on identifying toxins in the home and removing them. But for now, we're going to focus on how do we help out the liver. Okay. So you may or may not be surprised, but what I'm telling you, much of what I'm going to say, you're going to say, well, I think I already knew that. Okay. And I think most of this you already know, but I want to get more specific into why these strategies help the liver, because once you understand the why, hopefully they'll become a regular part of your routine and not some treacherous thing you try to do several times a year. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about 7 tips to help reduce toxins in your body by supporting your liver. We want to take good care of our livers. Okay, number 1, protein is really important because it is one of the building blocks that the liver needs to be able to complete those transforming reactions. Remember, I said that unwanted thing has to be transformed so that it can be eliminated by the body. You must have enough protein. And if I have a patient who thinks they want to do a detox and they're not taking in enough protein, I won't let them do a detox because you can actually make people more sick. Okay. And when I say protein, you can definitely do your animal proteins if you like. I've got that here in the arm. But then, think about nuts and seeds, beans and legumes. So as far as how much protein you need, different organizations and societies disagree on the exact amount, but I like to kind of think about the minimum amount, and then you can add more based on your size, your physical activity level. So aim for at least 1/3 of your weight in pounds. If you're 150 pounds, 1/3 of that is 50 grams. So you need a minimum of 50 grams. Okay. If you're active and do a lot of exercise, I would, increase that by maybe 40%, just you want, I don't think you need, so a 150-pound person needs at least a minimum of 50, maybe up to 100, but it's not like 120 or 150. Some people are doing a lot of protein thinking that it's helping them. We don't need to take it that high. Okay, so number 2, I want you to flood yourself with vitamins and minerals because that is what the liver needs to do its job. And here's a picture that you can think of every time you think of vitamins and minerals. Think of all these plant-based foods. One of the reasons we keep pushing on eating a whole foods plant-based diet is so that you can get lots of nutrient-dense foods in. So look at all the colors. You're going to get tons of phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals. So just think plants. At least 80% of your diet should be plants. And if you look at your plate, just visually think about 80% of that surface area should be covered with plants. And I mentioned the word phytonutrients, but this is the 3rd really important strategy for supporting the liver. These colorful fruits and vegetables have phytonutrient molecules in them. And you know that because they've got these beautiful colors. That's where they are. These are antioxidants. They're anti-inflammatory molecules. They're anti-cancer. They're good for the immune system. And part of what they do is they help sort of mitigate the damage that can occur during a regular process of detox. So if you can get the rainbow in every day, get all the colors in from red all the way down to the blue and purple, that's a huge win. And you don't have to do tons of it. A little bit of every color 1 to 2 times a day goes a long way. And maybe stop and think to yourself, what are the hardest colors for you to get in, right? So most Americans struggle with this inside part of the rainbow, the blue and the purple. Maybe that's you, maybe not, but I think that's what most people struggle with. Green tends to be easy and red tends to be easy, but the other colors are a little bit harder. So when you're at the store, rather than just buying one color of bell peppers, buy the mixed bags, or the carrots, buy the mixed colors. Rainbow shard, anytime, like when you're at the grocery store, think visually and think about color. So make sure you get all the colors in your home. Okay, and so we talked about getting protein, mostly plants. We talked about getting vitamins and minerals, and we talked about getting phytonutrients. Where do you find all of these foods? Well, this is why we keep pushing on a whole foods, plant-based diet. Whole foods means that the food is unprocessed, it's unpackaged, it's as it grows in nature. So think about all that you see here or what you would see at a farmer's market. And then plant-based means that at least 80% of what's on your plate is plants. So here we've got 2 eggs, but the rest of it is all plant-based foods. I think that's like fried tofu there. So this is a really good meal put together. Look at all the different colors. Look at the ratio. It's all fresh. And when our foods are colorful and we use spices on them, they actually look more appetizing and they taste better and they're more nutritious. And let's get more specific. What are the individual foods that comprise a whole foods plant-based diet? So fruits are part of it. You know, people always ask me, can I eat fruit? Yes, you can eat fruit. It just shouldn't be the main thing that you're eating because there is sugar in fruit. But the fact that it comes with fiber and that sugar comes with vitamins and minerals means that it's going to buffer that sugar effect. So the berries are the best fruits because they don't raise your blood sugar very much, and they have those intense colors, which is where the phytonutrients are. So if you ever get a chance, buy mixed berries instead of just one color of berries. Vegetables, for sure, everybody, you know, hopefully is eating enough vegetables and enough color and variety. If you're not eating enough nuts, perhaps you start adding these into your diet. And I like all nuts. I think variety is really important. If I'm making a snack at home, I will mix a bunch of nuts so that hopefully people get a variety of vitamins and minerals. And it's a good source of protein and good fat. So when you add nuts to plant-based foods, it helps keep you fuller longer. This is the trick, right? If you just eat a salad, you're going to be hungry an hour later, but throw some nuts on there and you'll be fuller longer. Seeds, similarly, like nuts, good protein, good fat, and lots of vitamins and minerals. So I make a seed jar and I have maybe 6 different seeds in there and it's ready to go. I dump it into my steel cut oatmeal. I dump it into a smoothie. I sprinkle it onto an open faced avocado sandwich. So I try to find ways to sneak seeds into foods, and they really don't have a taste. Also, you can get nut butters and seed butters instead of butter. Beans and legumes are also a great source of protein and fat. Again, just like nuts and seeds, they'll keep you fuller longer. So if you're going to do a salad, maybe throw some beans on there. It'll help you feel more satiated. For people who don't tolerate beans, first of all, I prefer that you do dry beans. You soak them. Maybe you pressure cook them. I put a little piece of kombu in there, which is a seaweed, and I cook it that way, and it helps you not be gassy afterwards. And, you know, we seem to tolerate it pretty well that way. Whole grains are also fine. They just shouldn't be the main part of our diet. And you want to avoid refined flour, like, you know, white bread, white pasta. Go for whole grain. But again, try not to make this the main part of your meal. It's really just kind of a filler. It's not the most nutritious compared to what you see on this list right now. And then herbs are totally underutilized. So you could do dry herbs or fresh herbs. They'll just make your food taste better, and they're full of nutrients. So you can even have this as a side to whatever meal you're eating. My family, we're Iranian. We eat a lot of just raw, fresh herbs on the side of a meal, like scallions, radishes, basil, mint, chives, like you name it. It's just there and you just shove it all in. And it's a great way to get a lot of nutrients. And then don't forget about spices. If you're not using this already in your cooking, maybe next time you're at the store, get a few things and start experimenting, because spices will make your food taste better and smell better. And there's hundreds of really important chemical compounds in there that are anti-inflammatory, antioxidants. Antioxidants protect our cells. So just try to get these into your diet as much as possible. And also don't forget about herbal teas. Maybe you swap out a cup of coffee for an herbal tea, right? That's what you got to get through. Get through a cup of herbal tea before you can get to your coffee. Lots and lots of powerful molecules in a cup of herbal tea. All right. Number 4, stay hydrated. Remember that slide with the little urine guy where I said you need to drink enough fluid so that you can create enough urine and push and wash the toxins out. So I like that this young man is drinking from a glass water bottle. Don't do plastic, please, because there's microplastics that are getting into your water and you're putting them right into your body. So find one bottle, stainless steel or glass, maybe spend $20 on it where you feel bad enough if you lose it, and then you take good care of it, and then you have it and you take it with you everywhere. So stay hydrated and make sure that you allow toxins to exit through urine. How much water do you need to drink? I don't think anyone's ever done extensive studies on this, but a good rule of thumb is half your weight in pounds. This is the minimum you should drink in a day. If you are 150 pounds, drink 75 ounces of water a day. And I would say do half of it by noon and the second half by 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., hopefully you're just doing small sips. Okay, this will actually help improve your energy, your skin will look better, and it's just a wonderful way to keep hydrated. And I think it even helps with keeping appetite under control. So just make sure you stay well hydrated. And then, isn't this just the most amazing toilet? I love this picture when I found it. So make sure you are eliminating at least once a day. I have had patients who have a bowel movement once every 3 weeks, and they actually think that's normal. It's not normal at all. Your body needs to regularly move things out, because if things aren't moving forward, things are stagnating, and your bacteria, maybe the not so desirable ones, can start migrating backwards up into even the small intestine where you're not supposed to have a lot of bacteria there. So aim for 1 bowel movement a day, 2 if you're an overachiever, but hopefully these stools are nice and bulky. They're not watery either, right? And what's going to help with that is enough fiber. And the way you get fiber is eating those plant-based foods. Okay. And then this actually is supposed to be a picture of your microbiome. You've got the small intestine bunched up here in the middle, and then you've got the large intestine, and your microbiome hangs out in your large intestine. So always think about food first. There are lots and lots of foods we can be eating to help promote the growth of these good bacteria. So first of all, there's prebiotics, and you've probably heard of probiotics, but we don't talk about prebiotics very much because this is essentially just fiber. So there are certain types of fiber called prebiotic fibers, and their job is to feed your good friendly bugs. So think about them this way. It's a way of feeding your good bugs to help them grow and thrive so that they can outcompete the bad guys, because they're all just competing for space and nutrients in your large intestine, right? So you're going to preferentially get your good bugs to grow by eating prebiotic fibers. And these foods are things like onion, garlic, kiwi, banana, green leafy vegetables, artichokes, so many plant-based foods. So you want to get a variety of them in your diet. Don't just rely on garlic or onions, because the more variety of prebiotics, the more variety of bugs you'll be able to sustain in your large intestine. And then there's probiotic foods. We typically think of these as supplements, but there are many foods that are fermented, and they're hopping with those good bacteria. And just by eating them, you're allowing your large intestine to get reseeded by these good bugs. And if you keep reintroducing the good guys, hopefully they'll outnumber the bad guys, and you'll start tipping the balance into a healthier microbiome. So these are fermented foods like dairy, like cheese, yogurt, kefir. It could also be coconut versions of all those dairy products that now you see at the stores. It could be kombucha, which is fermented tea. It could also be fermented vegetables. And you can pretty much ferment anything, right? So kimchi and sauerkraut are what most people are familiar with. But, in our family, like we'll make a a jar of fermented vegetables. It's a mix. You throw some seeds and spices in there, and it's dirt cheap to make, and you know exactly what went into it. But until you kind of get used to them, if you're not used to fermented foods, maybe buy some from the store, buy them from the refrigerated section, and just make sure it says live active cultures on it. And then have a little bit of it with every meal, like once or twice a day. Put it on the side of your lunch or dinner or breakfast. And it's just like a tablespoon or two. You don't have to sit there and eat a giant bowl of kimchi. Okay, so we talked about these foods that are fermented dairy, vegetables, and tea. Now, can you use supplements to support your microbiome? You can. There are lots and lots of probiotic supplements on the market, but they tend to be expensive, and you're only getting the bacteria that are in that capsule. So it's not going to be very diverse. And the name of the game is diversity when it comes to boosting your microbiome. This is why having a variety of foods in your diet, a variety of prebiotic and probiotic foods, will promote a variety of good bugs living in your large intestine. So it is an approach for many people who have GI issues or autoimmune issues to take probiotic supplements, but that doesn't replace the need for getting them through food. I really think that food first is the right approach, because it's going to give you, you can have the most success. Okay, and number 7, I want you to focus on lifestyle, because in addition to all the foods I talked about that help detox, the prebiotics and the probiotics, phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, hydration, bowel movements, all of those things are important. But if you don't practice clean lifestyle habits, you'll kind of end up right back where you were. So we talked about eating clean, but I want to drill down a little bit deeper, choosing organic whenever possible, whatever works with your budget. There are ways to do it if you are living on a budget. For example, the Environmental Working Group, the EWG, has their Clean 15 list, which is fruits and vegetables you do not have to buy organic. They have their Dirty Dozen list of foods that you should always buy organic. So that helps you budget where you spend the extra money on organic. So we want you to eat mostly plants because they have less toxins in them. And so you're relieving the stress on the liver, right? And, people always say, well, it's expensive to eat organic. Yeah, it's expensive to eat animal products, but I don't hear people complaining about that. So I think if you can shift what you would spend on animal products into eating foods that are organic, that goes a long way. All right, and then managing stress is really important, because stress is what throws your microbiome out of balance. And they actually do quite a bit of detox for us. So be good to your microbiome, and just lessening stress will help your hormones calm down, and everything else comes to greater balance. Exercising and moving as much as we can, whatever is within our ability. And then maybe upping the intensity by 5% or 10%, if that feels safe, right? And some of us have mobility issues, but we can get creative about how we can move our bodies in a way that makes sense. Sometimes it's just using a hand pedaler or a foot pedaler, or resistance bands, or having somebody help us passively just, move our joints and body for us. Getting into a pool. So when we exercise, our mitochondria work better. And when mitochondria work better, they make more energy. And actually detoxing with the liver requires energy. If your mitochondria aren't working, then we're not fueling detox. So it's just so important. And when we exercise, we also build a healthier microbiome, and our hormones go towards greater balance, and we sleep better. Thinking about minimizing toxic exposures. So I'll go into greater detail in a future webinar, but some of the most high-yielding things you could do is get a reverse osmosis water filter, get a HEPA air filter. Don't wear shoes in the house. If you must wear shoes in the house, get a pair just for the house. Eat organic food to the extent possible. Don't use pesticides and herbicides in your home and garden. Use non-toxic personal care products. The Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, is really one of my favorite websites, and it's a great resource for finding less toxic versions of the personal care products we use. And then, of course, sleep is really important. People always ask, this is a really great example of why we should work on lifestyle. I hear this all the time. Yesterday, a patient asked me about her husband, and he has early dementia, and she wants to know what supplements to take. And I always feel bad that I don't have a good answer, because there are no supplements that can stop dementia. We only have a few medications that can slow down early dementia, but what can help is sleep. When we sleep, we detox foreign material out of the brain probably twice as efficiently as we do during the day. And that's really the answer to having a healthy brain, is to make sure you're getting enough sleep so that the detox can happen in the right amount of time at nighttime. So sleep is so important, and sleep is magic. And most of us aren't even thinking about all the magical stuff that happens at night when we have our eyes shut. So more sleep. So if we can focus on lifestyle therapies, we're providing raw materials to the liver, we're repairing leaky gut, we are boosting the microbiome, and we're promoting elimination. And these are just such important mechanisms. And there are sometimes this can be hard to do on your own. That's why I've just put programs together to help us do this as a group together. So we have a 12-day detox challenge. I have a 6-week gut restoration program. So if this is something that's been on your mind and you haven't been able to do it on your own, I'd love to have you do it with us. It sometimes just takes a group and a program.